Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your favorite truth seeker and truth teller, Wise Champion, back with another one. And as has been explained several times in the past, I created this channel in the hopes of being able to shed some light on men's mental health, more specifically men's mental health. And I also explained, I found that I had a lot more to talk about besides just mental health. And I think that my talents through all my studies through the year would have been wasted had I not expressed some other topics as well. So tonight I will go about speaking about a different topic, and that topic is specific to Black people, and it's about inviting everyone to the cookout. You know, we see Black people, especially online. You know, someone shows a kind gesture, someone exposes something that was happening or that we have been saying for years. And the first thing you want to do is invite them to the cookout. We don't know these people from a can of paint. All we need them to do is do a little dance or, say to someone that is being racist, hey, stop being racist or whatever it may be. We don't know what that person's motives is, or even if that person is just trying to do that to infiltrate. If you go back and you look at the history of COINTELPRO, that's what they did. They would gain our trust, and then they would put somebody in amongst us that is purposely there to be a spook that sat by the door, which is someone that's just basically watching us and being amongst us there to cause problems and to report back what we were doing. We are so quick to just invite any and everyone around us. And it's a part of our nature because we're very forgiving and loving people. But it's a time that we should start to become uh, we should gatekeep ourselves a lot more. We should gatekeep everything about us a lot more. People that we do allow amongst us need to be vetted. And that's 1,000%, no matter who they may be. They need to be vetted. Too many times in the past have we allowed people to come amongst us, and all they did was stir up trouble or throw a wrench in our plans. And it's happened over and over and over and over again, and we still keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe. You know, with these other cultures that come in here, I don't want to see anything bad happen to those people. Those people have gone through a tremendous pain and suffering in their countries, and they went through a lot to get here. But that doesn't mean they're our allies. I know some good people from all those communities. But the problem is, as the collective, none of them really rock with us. All you have to do is look at their country and how they treat the Black populations in those countries. And 99.9% of the time, Black people are ill treated. And then to go along with the media, how they portray Black people, they come here with a preconceived notion of not really giving two shits about us. We have to understand that. And we need to stop spreading ourselves so thin by wanting us to jump on every person of color's cause. We're sitting around, we're talking about our grievances and what we've gone through and what's happening in our communities, and we're saying people of color. I put good money that the amount of times when they are having their collective discussions about what's going on in their communities and their grievances and what's happening to them, that is somewhere around 0% that they include us in their grievances. It's somewhere around 0%. These same people do not support our businesses. We support theirs, but they don't support ours. These same people They do any and everything to make sure that their community is number one. When it comes to black people, we want everybody's community to be number one. And we understand is the word race is being a made up construct. There's only one family on the planet Earth, and that's a human family. The race was coined to sow division, but as a society that we deal in, race is a very real thing. Um, we have to understand that the word race, as it means to ethnic stock, also has similarities to the word race as to mean people running to get to a certain place to see who's going to be number one, two, and three, and so forth. So it's a race in far as it's dealing with economics. So we're dealing with the economics, and the race is to see who can get the most resources, land, money, capital, assets. That's the race, and it's never ending. So these people are constantly stacking up, stacking, 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 stacking. Meanwhile, we're busy worried about what other people are getting. And the same token, each and every single one of these ethnic groups come to this country, and within 15 years, they outpace black people in wealth. I go back to my hometown, which I just went to a couple weekends ago, or last weekend. I went back to my hometown, and I always notice it. They started this thing where they tore down the projects and built affordable housing. And they did that in the early 2000s. Where there was a black community there at that point in time. I'm not gonna say it was thriving, but it was a black community there. But now you come and fast forward to 2026, the black community is non-existent. I drove around town and I scarcely saw any black people. Whereas I back in the 90s and early 2000s, I could drive around and see black people everywhere. They're not existent. They've been replaced. They've been replaced by immigrants. We have to start to etch out our own place, and we have to understand that we need to put ourselves number one. And that's what I meant by the video yesterday when I said we need to start practicing some type of racism. I don't mean racism where we're trying to, let's see what's the wording I'm looking for, but we're trying to use our race as a tool to harm others. But I mean racism as we are putting ourselves as number one. The first law of nature is self-preservation. We have to preserve for ourselves because no one else is going to. The way we try to preserve for others, they're not doing that for us. Because if they did, as they were coming in here and leapfrogging us when it came to economics, they would have said, hey, we need to bring our black brothers and sisters along with us. And they're not doing that because they understand the importance of delineating, and they understand the importance of uplifting their community. Because if they can't uplift their own community, how are they going to uplift anybody else's? I think Dr. Claude Anderson said it best when he was like, if we're on an airplane and that airplane is going down, and when you sit in the airplane starts to go through a point where it's an emergency situation, those oxygen masks come out the top of the ceiling. And when those oxygen masks come out, everyone takes those oxygen masks and put it on. But black people are busy asking everyone else, hey, you need some oxygen? Hey, you need some oxygen? Meanwhile, we're suffocating to death. This behavior needs to stop. We need to stop expeditiously. Because this is part of the reason why we're in this predicament and situation we're in now. Black people, we have a beautiful history. We have a beautiful past, but it's been a concerted effort to keep us in this situation. And where in the past it was, others doing that to keep us in this situation, those people from that same generation convinced us to keep ourselves in that situation. So they no longer have to take an active role in doing it. So that's why in this country you can see, there's a lot of white people that are not racist. but it's coming across as racism because of the mental um, Stockholm syndrome that we suffer for as a collective that has us doing the bidding of those who put us in the situation in the first place. It's time for us to have that revolution of the mind. That's why they said this time around, revolution will not be televised because that's what it's about. The revolution is a revolution of the mind. And I'm going to do another video on that in the coming days about the revolution of the mind. So be looking forward to that. But as always, people, if you found any value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave some comments. I'd love to hear from you. I know this thing is starting off slow, but I want to build something big, and I want to start something to where, we're having real discussions on what we need to do to uplift our community. And as we uplift our community, we uplift others, not vice versa. We're uplifting others and neglecting ourselves. That's a fast path to destruction. Again, my name is Wise Champion, your favorite truth seeker and truth teller. With this, I say peace. Until the next one, peace and love to you all.